the 98cc that is don't sell on the market.
Here's something very special. And now we are coming to the Formula One cars. Heute kommen wir zu einer neuen Folge Most Sexiest Vespa Workshops. Mir wurde gesagt, hier finde ich das wahre Vespa-Paradies. Und wo soll man sowas schon finden, wenn? Dann natürlich in Italien. Hinter diesem Tor soll sich das befinden, was wir heute filmen. Und ich hoffe, der Besitzer ist da und öffnet uns das Tor. Ah, ciao.
Ciao,
Sono Jesco.
Marco.
Piacere. So you are the owner of the Vespa Paradise, I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's okay for you to show us and our audience to your paradise.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
We can go.
We can go. Let's start.
Yes.
Okay.
Here.
Grazie. This is an absolutely amazing place, and I never seen something like this. So start with the beginning, and we are sitting in front of the beginning. Is it right?
Yes, this is my first Vespa.
Okay.
When I was younger, I have the age to use the motorcycle on the normal road. I want to ride a motorcycle, not a Vespa.
Okay. Okay.
And when I go to the shop, because I want a motorcycle, I find all the Japanese and only this old motorcycle.
Okay. And so you decided to buy
this
Vespa,
one. Yeah.
But how did you change from having one Vespa to go to school or to work or to university to collecting Vespas?
I changed more or less after 10 years.
Okay.
From this one, and I find on market all old model, old rust, old to restore, and I find also a model as a Rally or 100 SS, but I don't buy this one because it's too early.
Okay.
I prefer to buy the older.
Yeah.
And I buy this because I love the vintage model.
Ah, okay. So an SS 180 was not old enough.
Yeah.
At this point, you didn't want to work on Vespa, or
Yeah.
did you want to try to restore?
I want to try restore, and I want to try restore an old model
Okay.
that is more feeling to me, is more a style of life, of Italian life of the 50 years. And I chose this one. Okay, this no, this one. And I buy more or less in 2-3 months, 20 pieces.
This was the starting point for collecting Vespas.
Yes.
I have to ask an evil question. So you're living near to Milano.
Yeah.
Why didn't you buy Lambretta?
I know that you ask me, but I prefer Vespa because it's more simple. It's a few pieces and then it's more simple to maintenance.
Very cool. So let's start and see your collection.
I place the scooter in a line divided from large frame and a small frame. I chose this system because it's more simple to show and understand the difference between one model or the evolution from one and the other one.
This is all large frame. This is all
Small
frame in this direction. And you have nearly every model that existed. Is it your goal to have every model that was ever built?
I have probably 95% of the models that are built, yeah.
Here you have models for children.
I don't know how many.
The newer ones are made of plastic and they have also electric engines for the kids to go with them. And which one is the oldest? This one here?
Yes, probably this is the older.
Is it from the 50s?
Yeah.
And here you have something special. I think we can't show a lot on camera, but you bought a lot of documents
Yeah.
from original Piaggio, is that right?
Yes, yes. From original Piaggio, I have a lot of drawing and a lot of sheet, data sheet for the homologation of the outside nation.
Okay. And you have also these posters. Are they all original from Piaggio made?
Yes.
And here you have also the more modern Vespa. Not the modern Vespa,
Not
but more
modern.
modern than on the other side. PX T5, a very seldom Vespa, even so it's not that old, but it is a P200 without indicators.
Yeah.
So you have really everything you could imagine.
And
also we
the
see-
first blue one is an automatic that is
okay.
don't sell on the market. Is never used.
Oh, okay.
Is in this condition because it's moved from the magazine,
Okay.
from one to the other magazine.
So here we have GTR Rally, GTSS Sprint. Here it's getting a bit older. Here's also a tap.
This is the Vespa used from the military, the French military.
And I think it was made to destroy tanks, or?
Yeah, probably.
Then you have some models here where you can see all the inside of a Vespa.
Yeah, that are model for the exhibition or the school or to explain where is working the engine of the Vespa or all the other inside Vespa mechanic.
Okay, on the let's go to the other
Yeah.
side. Here we are also already in the 60s and
Yeah.
going slowly to the 50s. Yeah, wide frame, large frame, both of
This
them.
is the all large frame and in the same system. This is a GS VS5, this is a VS4. This is the VS1. You can see that the cable are outside of the handlebar.
So,
Also
so you can
maintenance.
see the difference very, very well here. So here it's outside, here it's inside. So that's the change.
Probably this is the last model with the outside cable.
Okay. Here we are already in the 50s. Here we're
Yeah.
also in the 50s, but here everything
From the,
is
the first
very
year
early.
of the 50, yeah.
yeah, very early Vespas. Here's something very special. It's a U,
Yeah, this one.
a model that was reduced for selling it more cheap. Today it's very hard to get one.
It's difficult.
It's one of the most sought after model of Vespa today because very few numbers left. And now we're coming to the star of the show,
Yeah.
or the stars of the show, because behind me there's a row of the very first Vespas.
Yeah, this is the 98cc.
They may be blind to me, just wait and see. Just wait and see.
The frame is from 46 and is the number 71.
What we see here is the first Vespa, and during the production they changed a little.
Yes.
But any Vespa 98 is very, very rare. What do you think, how many exist today?
Probably more or less 100, 150 pieces.
Okay, and 3 of them are here.
Yes.
We should focus on the really, really first, because it's a beauty. Yeah?
Yeah.
A little different rear light, yes, it's a bit nicer than the later models, but the most...
Then you can see that this is the button that you push to take out the cover, and the other model you have like a screw. You have to turn.
Ah, okay.
Also, you can see the cap of the fuel. This is as we know,
Yeah.
and this one
Okay.
is open only without the screw.
I think all the Vespa 98s, they had no rear suspension at all.
No,
Okay.
it's hard. Yeah.
And in the front,
In the front there
no
are
damper, but only the spring.
Yes, there is only the spring, and the fork is on the other side that we normal find.
Yeah. And it's only the Vespa 89 with a fork on the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
And
see
the-
that there are these two spring,
Yeah.
two bed spring.
Okay.
It's not a normal coiling spring.
And the other 89 had the usual spring or also the band? Also
It's another different system.
Ah, okay.
Probably
And
this
the
is the
third one?
same. The same of this
Okay.
one.
But the third one has original painting.
Yes.
Okay. And one thing we should show is what I really love is the special fender on the front.
Yeah.
The fender looks a bit different. The later models are missing this part, and you have to screw it off
Yes, to change
to,
the wheel.
to change
The tire. Yeah.
And later on, they made
A little bit
Smaller fenders?
smaller, then is more simple to.
But this is really a beauty. Is it possible to take off one of the
Yes.
the side
This one
panels?
or as you
Okay.
want.
This looks very cool because it's so simple, so clean. yeah?
Yes.
Today people try it with customizing to have such a clean engine.
You can see that the air is in line,
Yeah.
and after is made on this side because the air from the fan
Yeah.
is more.
Effective this way.
This is not enough, and then we place on this line.
Okay. I think the shape of the fans is from the first prototypes,
Yes.
where they were cooled by the wind from the.
Yes, from direction of
yeah.
the moving.
Yeah. Would it be possible to ride this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you like, you can start it and say, okay, I'm going to the market, buy some apples or wine. What do we see here?
We can see three model. This is a 49 and is a racing motorcycle Vespa, used for the circuit. This is the from 49 and this is a sport model. Probably was the model in advance than the famous 6-day model. And we can see that there is a large handlebar and the square frame.
Yeah.
And in 49 there is also the cable. When in normal production there is an hard.
So this was built from the factory, only
Yes.
for factory riders. Yeah,
Yeah.
They decided, okay, let's do some racing, and we built a race scooter, and we hire a rider who can handle it. And afterwards, they decided to do some for the public. Is it right?
Yes, after the 6th day of 51, the production on the market, Piaggio placed this that is a 6-day, change the color, and is built in 53, and more or less is produced 300 pieces.
Okay.
And each dealer can buy one model, one piece,
He may only buy one,
Yeah.
and it was built 300.
more or less. Yeah.
Okay. How many were built of those?
More originally on 98 cc is less than 20,000
20,000.
in all three, four series, but it's not series, it's an evolution.
So today is very, very rare, especially the first one. It's absolutely rare. But originally there were 20,000. From this, originally it was 300.
Yes,
How many do exist today of the original one?
more or less 10 pieces
Okay.
in all 15,
Okay.
including the race model.
And how many were built of those?
I don't know how many. I know that
Nobody
of the
can
sport,
say a thing.
of this model, there are for sure 3 pieces. 2 in Italy and 1 in Japan.
I like the detail here, yeah, with the stop clocks and this bridge
Yes.
where you can adjust it.
With only one hand, you can stop 2.
Ah, okay. This is cool. Okay, and this is even as rare.
Yeah, this is the only one that is have an engine of 125 cc. The other red races Vespa No are 98 cc. Was found in the south of Italy. This is a dealer of the epoca. The history that I know. That is the son of one of the 2 brothers Politano have this gift from Piaggio factory when the dad is dead.
Ah, okay.
He's dead during the working, and then Probably Piaggio gave this.
And so it wasn't in part of the race history, but it's even more rare because they used the 125cc
Yes.
engine, which is only in this.
On this side, you can see that there isn't the kickstart.
Okay. You had to push it to start
Yeah.
it.
And you can see
yeah.
that
To have more.
is cut to
Yeah. To have more
more
free.
spaces when you.
Go to the right.
Yeah.
Does this engine work?
Yes.
It mu-
I use 3 or 4 times in a meeting in a circuit.
Okay.
That okay, the speed is for us today lower.
Yes, of
Because
course.
it's more or less 80, 90
But it must
kilometer.
be extremely loud with this kind of exhaust.
Yes.
Can you show the exhaust?
It's like a tube, a pipe, normal.
Yeah. Okay. As we are talking about racing, we have to come to my favorite scooter of this collection. This is a scooter made by Gori. Gori is a tuner from Italy.
Yes, from Firenze.
Can you tell us something about the scooter?
This is used only in one time in England, probably 77, yeah. And the maximum speed in a quarter of mile is 140 kilometer. It's not used in a race. It's only
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
straight.
It was built for set land speed records. Oh, it's a beauty. Very special exhaust made especially for this engine, I think.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
May I try to sit on it?
Yes.
I think it's not built for people in my size. I need to wash my trousers.
You can place the foot here. Yeah.
Yes, if I can. Yes, but I would be the perfect scooter for me. I love the shape. Yeah, it's really old school racing shape.
Yeah, you can see in this side that the carburetor is older than the carburetor that use, because this is more or less the similar of GS.
And now we have another race legend I want to show you. Yeah? A Vespa small frame made by Noricare. Noricare is a small frame Vespa racing legend from England.
I buy this one in an auction
Okay.
4 months ago, more or less. I don't know the history of this model until a few days ago, when I find the paper of the auction, and then I searching on the web and I find a magazine with an article on, and he explained that win probably 2 championships in England.
It's a typical style of Noricare. He established in, I think, in the 80s. Yeah? And some details I like. Skitsu, rev counter, for example. I think we can show for 2 days details here, because you have so many things you collected, like models, like newspapers, like I also saw.
I have a lot of magazine or picture.
Yes, and so many, like here these kind of it's for key rings, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the most important for our audience we can see on the other side, because you're collecting also Vespas from all over the world.
Yeah.
Vespa were not only built Piaggio Italy, they gave license.
Yes,
to
it
other companies.
was built all in Italian land with the specification of the other country, or built in directly in the country that sell.
You have the most important you have here. I think,
Yes,
yeah?
the line here is divided by nationally,
Okay.
and this is from Austria,
And here we come to
United States.
Allstate.
Yes, the Allstate that was made in Italy and sell there.
Here we come to Agma. Agma is French production.
Yeah. And
Also some very famous models of Agma, I think, and some very sought after models also.
probably the first model that is different from the model that sell in Italy is the 50cc with the 2 pedal as a bicycle.
You have everything, simple everything. It's a PK models, the
yes.
late PK models. Okay, very nice. What is this?
This is a model for the United States market.
So what do we have here? We have LML and Bajaj licensed products from India. From Germany, we have this one.
This is a Messerschmitt.
This is a Messerschmitt,
Yeah.
because Messerschmitt also produced Vespa and license, and it was very close to where Zip company is today. It was made in Augsburg.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very nice example of a Messerschmitt. It's like a GS,
See, more or less, yes.
but more rare and more famous than the Messerschmitt is a Hoffmann, the earlier production. Can you tell us something about this one?
This one is the Königin.
Königin?
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Queen?
The Queen, yeah, with the two lamps and a lot of speed, or there is also the shock absorber in front.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the story behind the Königin is that Hoffmann decided to make a Vespa better.
Yeah.
They said, okay, we change something, and Piaggio is a bit slow, and we can do it better, and we will change something. And Piaggio was saying, no, don't change. We have the license for ours, but they said, no, we can do it better. And then they did the Hoffmann Königin, and then Piaggio said, okay, you change something without asking us, so
We
you
close.
lose the license.
Yes.
Is it right?
Yeah.
So the production moved from Hoffmann to Messerschmitt.
Messerschmitt.
Now we have a special project you did
Yeah, I made
1 year ago, 2 years ago,
no more than 2017.
5 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. So very, very interesting project. Tell us something about it.
My idea was, okay, I want to go on the salt flats, and my friend is a mechanic, and he tell me, okay, I'm ready to build this, but I don't want any money from you, but my son have to choose the name and the color,
Ah, okay.
and he's a girl, he's a little girl, find
Okay.
the pink,
Yeah.
and the name of this project is Daphne because it's the name of the girl.
Ah, okay, okay. And you went there and you wanted to set a record, or you said you just want to go there and to smell the air
No.
and to try how it works?
It's not
and
was not simple.
for the experience.
Yes, but when I send all the info, the form to inscribe for the inscription of this, the guy there tell me that okay, the rule are this. The Vespa is not inside of the rule. You have a little wheel. It's not simple
Yeah.
for me modify. And then I find the man of the chief there that tell me, okay, you can stay here.
Yeah.
You can ride only in the rookie line. I take your speed, your time. I give you all the stuff and the item. Also send me the label with the speed.
Okay, you get a special label then.
But I haven't any record because I haven't
Because the engine is
respect the
not in
rule
line.
of the engine.
Oh, no. Okay, now we come to some curiosity.
Yeah.
Wie sagt man das?
Curiosities.
Curiosities. You're collecting everything that is,
Is born from
From
Vespa,
Vespa.
or Piaggio or
and you found some really rare and special things. Like,
Yeah. This is a snowmobile that have the engine of a rally. It's a Pitotti that probably we know Pitotti for the accessorized.
here I think there are cars that are built from private people, I think. Yeah?
Yes, it's handmade by itself.
Yeah.
This is a tractor T111.
Okay.
It's a Piaggio build.
Yeah. It's also built by you. It's your invention.
This is an Ape that I don't know how many years ago there is a type of championship in Italy, and I go to check which is the rule, which is the other competitor, and I understand that there is only one rule, that you have to use the original front fork, and you can modify all.
So you only have to keep this part
Yes.
here,
Yes, this is original from Ape.
Yeah.
And during the changing, you can choose if you use an engine from motorcycle or from car. And then I find an engine of a smart car.
And then you have also a very early jet ski.
A jet ski from probably the 8th year, and using a Piaggio engine. And I find on the magazine Piaggio magazine for the Genova exhibition, that
Okay.
is famous for the boat exhibition, and take a picture of this one.
This is the same engine
Yes,
is
inside. Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
there are two types of engine, with 3-cylinder or
Yeah.
2. I don't remember if this is 2 or 3,
or
but
3.
we can check. It's a 3-cylinder.
Does this one, is it running?
Probably, yeah.
Did you try it?
No.
And here we have boat engines also made by Piaggio. And what you also have here, Piaggio was building planes, yeah, before
Before the World War, the Second
and
World
also
War.
during the World War.
Yeah.
And this is
It's an
of a
engine.
plane.
Yes, this is an engine from an airplane, and is a Lycoming engine that was assembled by Piaggio in Italy. A lot of motorcycle that there isn't any line. It's
Okay.
only because I like Ducati.
But that means you're passionate in general for
Yeah.
everything that works with an engine or, and
With the fuel.
smells like fuel.
Yeah.
And you're also racing, is it right?
I race with a car, single
Okay.
seater or a prototype.
Okay. So I know it's not the topic of our channel, but is there something that could be interesting for our viewers?
Yeah, we can go. We can go to see.
Should we do this? Marco, you are also a passionista
Yeah.
per race cars.
Yeah.
And you go to classic races.
Yes,
maybe.
only historic race. I like the history, and then I use historic car, and
Okay.
I prefer drive on
Yeah.
historic circuit.
okay.
Spa, Le Mans, all there are the history that you can smell.
What kind of car is this?
This is a Porsche 962, and is an IMSA model. Is used in the championship in the United States. Only one turbine, one turbo.
So it is 6 cylinders, one turbocharger, but only one, but a very huge one. The year it was built was
Was 87.
87. And this
86,
is the
86 or
exact car
87,
that
yeah.
took part in races in the 80s.
Yeah. Now we are at the end of the work, and probably in a few months this car will be on the track.
And now we are coming to the Formula One cars. These are real Formula One cars. Can't believe it. Yeah. What is this?
This is a Theodore Tier 1 from 78. Was used by Eddie Cheever in two qualifying in the championship, in World Championship Formula 1 in 78, and he don't gain the starting line
Okay.
because there are the qualifying, and he lose the place.
Okay. But this is a car you're actually racing with.
Yes, I used this in the last month 2 times. One
Okay.
in Estoril, one in Portimao.
And here we have the next Formula One car.
Yes, this is a Jordan from 94. 94 in Jordan team was Eddie Irvine and Rubens Barrichello. This frame was used from Barrichello.
But Eddie Irvine later racing with Michael Schumacher
Yes.
at Ferrari. Barrichello also later.
Also.
Yes, both later with Ferrari.
It's very simple if you see, because you cannot see a lot of parts,
Yeah.
and it's a few parts.
That's great. Yeah, like here also the carbon,
carbon.
brake discs. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is wow.
Now we are restoring some Formula 3 car from 80 year. The
And-
model is RT3. This type of car is possible use in the historic race.
Formula 3 was for young drivers.
Yes.
And to see who is talented enough to go to the Formula One.
Yeah.
So here we have only 4-cylinder and
Yeah.
an engine that is made from a serial engine.
Yes.
Or its origin in the
Yes,
serial engine.
most of pieces are from the normal production, and the historic Nova motor is a tuner of the era.
Sounds like really fun to drive it. And here, this is
Another one is a Formula 3000 car. Is the engine that more affordability from the Formula 1 because the RPM of the normal use of this category is 9,000 and in Formula 1 more than 11. Perfect.
And
it's the same engine that you can place in Formula 1.
Ah, okay. Just here with restrictions for the revs. How long did it exist? The Formula 3000?
From 85 to 90.
The racing class, it
Yes.
exists only a few years.
Yes, yes.
But very nice car. You have another room, you told me?
Yeah, if you
With
want,
some really interesting things.
Hey.
Let's go downstairs. So what do we see here?
two Formula 3 that the same rule of the
Yeah.
restrictor. As you
80s.
can see, more older
Yeah.
and is at the end of the 70.
Ah, okay.
And this is from 80 to 83.
We have a real icon. It's the Lancia,
037.
and this is a very, very legendary race car because this was the last rally car where they could the all-wheel driven Audis could be beaten by Walter Röhrl in this year. And now we come to two real stars of the show again.
This is Group C2, is an Argo that I used this year in 5 races, also in Le Mans.
You told me it's
in
the
Le Mans with this car I drive at 300 kilometers.
Wow.
And
And it's the same period as the first car we saw. Also late 80s.
yes, it's 87.
Horsepower around.
Around 500, 550.
But we need to look under this cover here. What is the history of this car?
This car was used by the brother of my grand in 36 years.
This is a really, really gorgeous car. Yeah, it was built in 29.
29, yes.
It has 8 cylinders.
Yeah.
And it looks like real, pure automotive.
There is any gas set between the engine, the part of the engine, then you have oil outside, and then there is the pump of the oil inside with a little tank, and during the normal use you have to pump.
Ah, so
it
loses oil while you're
Yes,
driving?
yes.
And then you say, okay, no problem, I have a pump.
Yeah.
And then you have enough oil again.
I don't know, I don't remember how many horsepower,
Yeah.
but this car was a Formula 1 of the year.
Bugatti were really, really great race cars, maybe the best of their times. They had few companies were battling at those times for the best race cars, and Bugatti was absolutely famous. You're riding this one?
Yes, I use in 2 or 3 times more or less in a regularity race
Okay.
that was Milano-Sanremo.
There's another very, very nice Alfa Romeo.
It's a Giulietta
Giulietta
Sprint
Sprint.
that are 2 Formula 3.
This is, the Lotus.
Yeah, this Lotus is a Formula Junior, all to restore, okay.
From the 60s.
Yes.
And very interesting, drum brakes. Very nice. Thanks a lot for showing us your paradise. It is paradise. To people like me, it's paradise.
I hope that the paradise is this one.
So Marco, thanks a lot for having us. It was really great to see everything here. If you come to Germany, visit us in Landsberg. Would be a great pleasure.
Sure, thank you.
And if you like this video, please subscribe the channel and you will see more of these videos. Until that, bye.
Ciao, ciao.